Hi, everybody. This is chapter 29 in our text, Generating Ideas and Text, which is another way to say pre-writing. So let's get going with this chapter and some information about it. This chapter, by the way, will be essential for you to go back to and think about in the next 2 days as you create discussion board number 2. Pre-writing, here's a good definition of pre-writing, is the utilization of different structures, formats, and methods for getting your ideas about a particular subject or topic down on paper. These techniques and methods are the starting point for creating an essay. They come before the actual writing, and they give you a way to think through your ideas, sort them out, categorize them, and start putting together what your essay's draft will look like. Another word for pre-writing is brainstorming. So all of these are synonymous: generating ideas, pre-writing, and brainstorming. It's the first step in the process of writing a paper. Free writing is one method of pre-writing. To free write, you will write nonstop for 5 to 10 minutes about a general topic you are thinking about. You can consider its rhetorical situation, particularly as you're free writing. Think about the purpose and the genre. You don't know your stance yet necessarily. You don't really know who your audience will be or what questions you need to ask them. You don't quite know your media design, but you do know the purpose of this project and you know the genre. Even when you cannot think of something to say, you just keep writing. You can actually write a sentence in the middle of your free writing, such as, I cannot think of anything to say, or today the weather is really sunny, but it rained earlier this morning. Just free write anything, as long as you're coming back to your solid purpose and genre, which in our case is to consider your literacy narrative. Now, remember, any of these brainstorming possibilities can be ways of thinking about topics themselves or details about a topic that you've already picked. So this is a brief free writing I actually did this morning about my attempt to become literate on the violin at age 12 and how it royally backfired. Now, I'm not going to read this for you. Honestly, you don't have to read the whole thing, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what free writing looks like. It's a paragraph. It can be longer. It can be shorter, depending on how long you're going. But remember, the directions for our discussion board this week talk about word count. So think about the word count as you're doing a free writing, if that's how you choose to do your discussion board this week. Moving on, we have listing. Listing is just what its name suggests, writing words, phrases, sometimes sentences, as much as you can think of that relate to your topic. Again, it can relate to many different topics. If you are struggling to come up with actually something to write about that you're literate in, you could start thinking about all the things that you have knowledge of, all the things that you're competent in. It could be playing video games. It could be texting. It could be TikTok. It could be organizing your Netflix queue. It could be something more serious, school related. It could be an extracurricular activity. Then you can start categorizing into patterns after you list. So this is a different topic I came up with that I think that I'm competent about. And the experience that I'm writing about is how I became literate about cats, how I became competent and knowledgeable about them. And that experience goes back to my getting my second cat named Smokey when I was about 10 years old. So that's the experience that I'm going to cover and how it sort of opened up my mind and my life to having this lifelong love and almost obsession with cats. So there's listing. Moving on. We have clustering or mapping. And I'm sure you've done this at some point in elementary school or beyond, but people, especially who are visual learners, might like to look at a map like this. It may be a way for you to visualize what you're doing. So you write your topic in the middle of the paper, you put a circle around it. Then you write ideas relating to it in smaller circles and connect them to the central idea. And you keep branching out for a long time until you have a large map or a cluster. And another thing that I feel competent in, although I'm not sure how exactly or what my purpose might be, is Disney World. I talked about how much I love Disney World. I wish I could go more. I've probably been about 10 times in my life. The first time was when I was about 10 years old. Then there was a large gap. I didn't go again until I was an adult. But since I've been an adult with children, I've been about 9 other times. So does that make me competent? I'm not sure. But this is a little map that I started for that particular topic. Next, we have questioning. So you're asking who, what, when, where, why, and how questions revolving around your topic. And I started that. I obviously didn't get very far with questioning. Honestly, questioning would not be my preferred mode personally of doing a pre-writing or brainstorming, but it could certainly be yours. Everyone has different strengths and different things that work best for them. Next, we have outlining. So you could create an informal outline to help you sort and categorize your ideas, or you could create a formal outline to help you do so, but in a much more structured and hierarchical way. And so this is just a very informal outline, again, about the Disney literate topic. Keeping a journal. I think this is the last slide that I went into depth about, and I'll talk about more on the last slide about the other different kinds of brainstorming. So keeping a writing journal or any kind of journal can help you ponder ideas and feelings related to potential writing topics. In fact, keeping a writing journal could help you with topics for the rest of the semester and for English 1302 if that's the path that you're taking, and for any other courses that require papers. I know psychology and history at TCC often require you to write papers. Speech, most of you or many of you will have to take or have taken already a speech class. That will require writing. So anyway, in your journal, you can draw, you can add clippings, you can cut and paste things if you keep it on the computer. Within your journal, you can use some of these methods to help you sort through ideas for your topics. So the discussion boards we do in class can help you think through potential topics as well. For instance, particularly for this topic, as that's the requirement for your discussion board. And here are my final thoughts on pre-writing. There are other methods of pre-writing listed in our text. Make sure you read about those methods too, and you can use them if you like. Cubing, letter writing, discovery drafting, looping, using features from the genre you are writing in. I have found, though, that most students work best by using one of the 6 methods I have discussed with you: free writing, listing, clustering, or mapping, whichever you call it, questioning, outlining, or keeping a journal. You can also use handwriting if you like, with different colored highlighters, color coding, categorizing to begin to sort your pre-writing ideas into a draft. You cannot do that, however, and I found this out the hard way last fall, which is the last time I taught 1301. I taught all 1302 classes in the spring, but in 1301, when I had students do a discussion board on this, I said, oh, go ahead and draw if you want to. Draw a map, use colors, and then take a picture of it and then post it. I don't think that worked on the discussion board, if I remember correctly. So if you want to do the map or the cluster, you're going to have to do it on the computer. And you can do so, of course. You can use shapes. You can use text boxes on MS Word. You can just play around with how to use those features in MS Word. And of course, during the semester, you'll practice some of these methods of pre-writing. So that is the first step in the processes of writing a paper: pre-writing, generating ideas, brainstorming. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.